sweet, a little bit of flavor, but don't want all the calories. Mix them 1/3 cup of milk and 2/3 milk. Do something in between.
And there's a pretty substantial difference in calories and fat of whole milk versus even skim milk, and so
we would, I mean, again, the shake's complete, so you can probably use whichever. Obviously, whole milk is a lot of extra calories that by sort of definition, if you're trying to use it for weight loss, you might not want to do that. A lot of people ask me about for athletes, though, and actually gaining weight, and that's how I'd go at it. I would actually use whole milk with the shakes to try and help the people gain weight. The best way to gain weight is actually increasing the fat content of the diet.
So there's some real particular things that have to happen just right when you're losing weight. When you're maintaining, it seems like it's a little more forgiving, but to get the weight loss, you have to be pretty particular. One of which is when you take the shake in the morning, the timing of it, how long in between. Maybe you can just walk us through the perfect protocol and the 2-hour rule in the morning and that kind of thing to get us off to a good start.
Yeah, so again, the whole issue with timing, as I was mentioning earlier, is very specific and needs to be when you're trying to exist on reduced calories. If you're sort of at maintenance and you're a little bit flexible with your calories, then you can be a little more flexible with your meal timing. But if you're trying to lose, you're in negative calories, you're always risking being hungry. And one of the things we're trying to do is to keep you from getting hungry, because that's when you make mistakes. And so timing becomes really critical. We want you to eat pretty much as soon as you can after getting up, at least within 2 hours of waking up. And we then, once you eat, you want to be having food at least at every 5-hour interval. 4 to 5 hours, you should be having something, either another shake, a bar, a meal, or something. And pretty much up to your last meal.
And you made a good point yesterday when you were talking to the team from Mexico, that you can mix up the order of the meals, but just be consistent. And I think you hit it again today. But
yeah, so again, the meals, we described them as breakfast, lunch, and dinner, because that's the way we perceive most Americans eat. In Mexico, for example, the noon meal is their larger meal, and that's perfectly fine. So the question they ask is, could we have a shake at night? Absolutely. I think it's a great way to go. Go to bed with this energetic burning. You've got a lot going on. It's really a good pattern. In fact, we would probably all benefit if we moved our big meal to noon and had the lighter one later at night. That actually would probably be the ideal pattern, but for most of it, just doesn't fit our lifestyles.
Yeah, great. Another question that comes up is there's a lot of people that go from kind of super high carbohydrate meals and they jump right into a max burn program, which is a high-powered shake for breakfast, a high-powered shake for lunch, a bar in the afternoon, and they complain about bloating, gas, cramps. What are we doing to their system there, and how can we alleviate some of those side effects?
The intestinal tract alters very quickly, but it adapts to what it's seeing. And so if it's seeing high carbs, low protein, it develops enzymes and things that basically handle that. And when you make a big shift to high protein, low carbohydrate, it has to change its entire cell population. It changes the enzymes it has available, and it takes a few days. The gut's pretty remarkable in that it will turn over in 3 or 4 days. A lot of people, will take a week or so before they can go from having 50 or 60 grams of protein, all of a sudden they're going to be taking in 125 or 30. So if you're one of those kind of people, you need to sort of not jump directly to the max burn, but maybe use the shake, use half of one for a couple of days, see how your body reacts to it. Most guys are eating enough protein that they can usually go to it pretty quickly because their body's kind of used to handling 90 grams of protein per day. A lot of women will find some discomfort with that. It takes a little time to adapt.
And so for those people, it's good when we also sell people on these packs to educate them about this kind of ramping up process and helping your body learn how to process those things at the same time. As Dr. Lehman mentioned, it happens rapidly. Your body's an amazing machine, but it can take, did you say, a week to 10 days?
Yeah, we find that most people will get through it in 4 to 5 days, okay. But give yourself at least 10 days to think. In general, most people should get through it in about 3 to 4. we would find most people in all of our research studies would have some discomfort or complain about being tired or anything for about 4 days. Usually by 7, they were feeling wonderful.
Yeah. Another good point that you made yesterday was how protein loves water. And it sucks up water, and it can do so in your intestinal tract, in your GI tract, and so your recommendation for those people, or just for anybody that's on this program is...
So you need to drink a lot of water. The shakes, obviously, when you're drinking, you're having those are in a fluid, so that's good. The bars, though, you certainly want to be constant, because that's a very concentrated protein source, and obviously it has no water at all with it. So you should at least be drinking a glass of water when you have the shake. And for the protein shakes themselves, within a couple of hours after having a shake, you should have another glass of water. So they're just, again, hygroscopic. They draw a lot of water to them, and that can cause some GI problems.
So you see the combination of getting somebody who's kind of dehydrated anyway, high carbohydrate, then they get into a high-powered meal with no water, they're going to have some GI distress, right? They're going to feel it. But the way that we get around that is by slowly ramping them into it, telling them to increase their water, and giving them a week to get to the full max burn pack servers.
And carbohydrates in general make you retain more water. People will say they went out and they had one meal and gained a lot of weight. A high-carb meal will actually cause you to gain a lot of water. And so when we shift from a high-carb diet to a low-carb, high-protein, we've got both things working against this. One is the carbs retained a lot of water. Now the protein's drawing a lot away. So it's doubly important, especially when you're first getting into it, to be very conscious of water.